Iran. Want to hear a fun fact about Iran? Let's do it. Greg Squad's website, foreignwide.com, and writer Max D. Knight. A fun fact about Iran is this country is the biggest, most dedicated country in the world when it comes to family planning. And what I mean when I say that is, over here in Iran, they have something that you would call religious decrees. And they have a word for it too, it's called fatwas. But with their religious decrees, they give out words and affirmations for you to carry with you towards the future. Over here in this side of the world, we call it like, giving food for the spirit. But yeah, within their religious decrees, they have a high regard for contraceptives, and they recognize the power within them. Also, furthermore, within Iran, it's a law within the country where before a male and a female get married, before marriage happens, both the male and the female have to take classes on modern contraceptives. And now, my thoughts on this. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest. This is like, aside from Iran, just looking at the template, looking at the formula that they have in place for this nation that we're speaking on right now, that right there between the fatwas and the educating yourself and taking classes on contraceptives before we continue with marriage, both of those are valid, in my opinion. And now, we're gonna go into why I say these things. And when it comes into this, we're just gonna have to be honest with ourselves. Because once upon a time, back in my childhood, I grew up with this character named Spider-Man. And within Spider-Man, he has an uncle named Uncle Ben. And within the story, Uncle Ben, one of his lasting messages that he's always told to Spider-Man, the main character, is with great power comes great responsibility. And you could take that, you could attribute that to whatever you like in your life, anywhere. With great power comes great responsibility. So bringing it back to this, when it comes to contraceptives and family planning, and a lot of things can happen when we talk about creating life. And it's in my opinion, it's the most absolute powerful thing you could do within your lifetime is create another life form. So with that being said, it's like, why not educate yourself on it? Educate yourself around the subject of it before we continue with family planning. So continue following my thoughts. And also, with great power comes great responsibility. We're also going to bring it back to a mind frame that I've also said many times in my videos throughout, as the ones who've been continuously watching me. I speak on looking at life from a mind frame of duality. And we could bring this back to the Chinese way of life when it comes to Taoism and duality there as well. So there's a lot of international overlap, but I'm going to bring it all together, so just follow me. When it comes to the procreation of life, or just any great power out there, if you have the ability to take that power and realize that power, you can't ignore what comes with the responsibility of that power. Otherwise, leave the power alone. It's like Pandora's box. If you're gonna grab onto something, you have to be ready or be willing. Not even ready, because sometimes you don't even know what's waiting for you on the other side. Sometimes you don't know, but you have to be willing. You have to know within yourself if you have enough heart within you to continue forth and keep going. After you decide to take up on whatever power that's in question that we may or may not be speaking of. But for this, we're talking about family planning. So if you're gonna take upon the power of that, you have to be ready and or willing to be responsible for what comes with that. And that's the duality element that we're going to keep this gel together with. And bottom line, that's with them, enforcing education and classes before we continue with marriage, and with the religious decrees, having a high recognition within contraceptives, they hold it to a high regard. I can't sit here and say that's bad play. Like that's definitely I see the logic, and it makes sense, and it keeps things intact, and it keeps everything accountable. So we're not gonna sit here and talk about what feels nice or what feels bad, but it's definitely accountable, and the checks are in balance. And I'll give you a little personal experience for me, my personal story. Me in my life, I come from a family that's broken, you could say. Like my mother and my father, they had me super young. My mom and my father had me at 18 years old. So with that within itself, that you already know like where I'm gonna take this story. My mom and my father, they were pregnant with me at 17. They had me at 18, and just like that, we fast forward till now. It's like reflecting on the points in my life. It's like my father fell out of love with my mother a long time ago. They've been separated for over a decade. So with my mother and my father, and just going through my experience, I know what it's like when it comes to not being ready when it comes to family planning, and you take upon the power, but you kind of like fat finger the responsibilities. It's like you're not in it as much as you was when you decided to take upon the power. Like the energy is different, you feel me? So it's like I come from personal experience when I'm speaking this as well. And bottom line, like there's countless amount of stories that my mother, growing up with my mother, I'm hearing about, the past before I was born, between my mother and my father, and stories that my mom has carried with her. And to the point where it's like one would think she'll carry these stories with her forever until the end of time, because it's like these are things that you carry with you and walk with you. Like the same thing with the religious decrees. These are what they're trying to establish is words and food for the spirit that you can carry with you to reach a point in your life where the decisions that you make, it lines up, and it just basically have you at a point where you're not living a life of regret or living a life of like nostalgia, but like nostalgia and old feeling that you've grown out of but it's like a toxic nostalgia, if you get what I'm saying. And this is a real powerful topic that we're speaking on. This is why I'm struggling on my words a little bit, and just speaking on a storyline that I'm not even here for. I'm putting the story together between my mother and my father. Like, I've always been the middle person between my mother and my father, where they learn more about each other through me. So whenever I'm with my father, he check in through me and try to hear about what's the word with my mom, and same thing with my mom. If I'm finishing my pops, she check in through me to see what's the word with my pops. But they don't have this about themselves within each other. You feel me? So like, there's a lot of storylines to put together from my perspective, from them before I was around. So it's like, coming from me with this family planning tactic that Iran is big on over there, I can't sit here and say it doesn't reinforce the mind frame of duality. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a global artist. I'm just sharing my thoughts. But now I'm gonna put it on the floor for you. What do you think? What's your thoughts on this when it comes to Iran? Outside of Iran being Iran, what's your thoughts on the religious decrees and the idea of taking classes for contraceptives before we continue over marriage and family planning? Because one thing's for certain, when it comes to family planning and when it comes to contraceptives and everything within that realm, contraceptive is already a part of the meta. There's no getting rid of it. There's no avoiding it. It's here. So it's either you learn about it or you don't. But at the end of the day, it's here. It's a part of the meta. So what are your thoughts? I would love to know. Now, departing from Iran, next video will be arriving at Thailand. This is Mr. Worldwide 2K, and I'll see you there.